Hey up, and welcome to this week's video of Locomotives of the Line. Today we've got a special treat, and it's going to start with me pulling a lever. Now some of you might wonder what the relevance of pulling a lever has with the next engine. If I'm going to be honest, it has none. But here's Victoria. Victoria was built for the Isle of Mull Railway. She was built in 1993 by the Mouse Boiler Works, or to other people known as David Vere. She was built because Mull had hit a high season where Waverley, their first steam engine, could no longer cope with the popular demand of the railway, and their second steam engine, which was always used, Lottie, or Lady of the Isles, was also struggling to keep up with demand. So they needed a new saviour of the railway, and that came in the form and the power that is Victoria. What makes Victoria special is that she's a half-size Baldwin to the Puffing Billy design. Now Puffing Billy is a 2-foot 6-gauge railway in Australia, and they helped the Isle of Mull and David Vere with drawings and all the information they needed to build Victoria, which makes her a rather unique engine in this gauge. For the eagle-eyed viewers who come and look at Vicky from the side, you'll see that the side profile is slightly off. There's quite a lot of back overhang here between the back pony truck and the buffer beam, and that isn't original. That is because of a rather controversial story from the Isle of Mull. Many moons ago on the island, they employed a rather large chap, and Vicky used to have a far smaller cab. Now there was either two options: they either got rid of the awfully large chap, or they didn't run steam. So they went for the third option: send the engine back to David Vere at Mouse Boiler Works and ask him to add another few large person friendly inches to the cab, which is what they've done. Which is why, if you look from a side profile, as I've just said, it looks a bit yeah. But it doesn't take away the fact that Vicky is an awesome engine. So in the true Locomotives of the Line videos, we now need to tell you what powers this awesome engine. She has some awfully large cylinders for this gauge, which led us with the title for many years as the most powerful engine in 10 1/4. They're 5-inch bore by 7-inch stroke, which is rather whopping. These power Stephenson's valve gear, which is rather unusual for a tank engine in this gauge. And that's why most people will know that on the outside, compared to most of our engines, there is a lot less rods, which is great for the drivers because it's something less to clean. So this is the point of the video where we tell you how Victoria ended up at Rudyard. So she was built for the Isle of Mull, as I keep repeating myself, and she ran from the Isle of Mull, at the Isle of Mull, from 1993 all the way to 2011. Where the Isle of Mull sadly came to its demise. And it was in 2011 that the directors of the Isle of Mull Railway needed an exit strategy to get some of the stock off the island to make it more appealing to sell. Luckily, this came in the form of Mike Hansen, who owned Rudyard at the time, and offered to collect Victoria for use at Rudyard for a Steam Gala that he had planned. So with that in mind, and everybody in agreement, Victoria made her way to Rudyard, and she first appeared here in 2011 for the Rudyard Lake Steam Railway Steam Gala. Once she appeared in the Steam Gala, she was then put up for sale, more accessible being down in the Midlands than up on the Scottish Highlands. And it was that point that she found her current owner, Mr. Clark, who then ended up buying Rudyard. And under Mr. Clark's ownership, she saw herself return to the Mouse Boiler Works in Sheffield for an extensive overhaul mechanically and boiler. and that sees her in the fine fettle that you can see her here at Rudyard today, pulling trains on high days and holidays. Hopefully you've enjoyed this latest video on Victoria. We could keep you here all night telling you all the intricate little details and stories that we have on her, but we'll save that for you to come and visit her in person. And as always, don't hesitate to have a natter with the driver, who can probably tell you some of these interesting little quirky facts. Anyway, as always, if you've enjoyed these videos, please help support us by liking, subscribing and following our railway page or the YouTube channel to find out all our latest information and our special events. Funnily enough, we've got one coming up on the 20th and 21st September 2025, which is our annual Steam Gala, which promises to be a big one with 5 visiting engines. Our fleet of 7 engines plus the 5 visiting gives us a massive 12 engine fleet for this year's Steam Gala, all to help us celebrate the 200 years of the modern railway for the Railway 200. Anyway, that's all for tonight, and thank you for watching this video on Victoria. As always, tra! Oh.